Welcome, Degens, to another edition of the Degen Docs. That is right, folks. I am your host, and hey, we got a rapid-fire episode today. Look, on about 25 minutes before Monday Night Football kickoff, we are going to go through the biggest NFL injuries from Week 2. We are going to, of course, do a Monday Night Football preview, a little rundown, give you some bets I like for tonight. And then we're going to look in the fantasy space, look at those waiver wire targets, and, of course, we're going to tell you about these early line locks. So, without further ado, let's get into it, folks. This NFL Week 3 Fantasy Football and Betting Preview edition of the Degen Docs on the Sports Gaming Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPNDOC to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, folks. Hey, look, you're probably like, where's the other half? That is right. As you can obviously tell, a bit of a mix-up here with our schedule. One, apologize for the late, but my co-host, my wonderful co-host, Mr. Professor Locks here, unable to make it today. Congratulations to him. We just got back from his wedding. So he just got married. Derek got married there. So he's enjoying some time with his new wife. So congratulations to Derek. And we're going to do this one without him. Do not worry, though. You only have to look at just my ugly face for just this episode. He will be back on Thursday as we get way more into looking at NFL Week 3. But we've got a lot to get to. So let's start off with some of these massive, massive injuries that we're going to talk about here. And look, first thing I have to say is fuck injuries. Like, I think at this point, there has been so many injuries for NFL Week 2. I mean, even just prepping for the show today, I thought I was all caught up, and boom, Deebo Samuel. Boom, Cooper Kupp. I mean, it's just dropping left and right. They're dropping like flies. So we got a lot to get to, and we're going to get to all of those. But before we do that, let me tell you about what some of the things we got going on over at Sports Gaming Podcast Network here. It's the war against corporate gambling, folks. It's heating up, and we need you to do your part. That's right. Just take a couple of seconds, rate, review this show here. Go ahead, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Hey, if it's your first time and you're like, I'm not ready to be there yet, you got to show me something. Totally fine. Just remember to do it at the end if you do enjoy what you hear. Tell a friend. Look, word of mouth is how we get things done at SGPN. That's the heart of it. We're a smaller company. We're an independent small business, right? So it's all about referrals. And hey, if you like it, if you like what you're hearing, then definitely drop a like or a review. All right, now here's what you came for. NFL injury rundown. I'm going to go through. Look, we got 8 or so, 10 injuries up there. Some of the biggest injuries that we are seeing this week from NFL Week 2, because NFL Week 2 was absolutely seemed to be an awful, awful week, whether it was in the fantasy world or just the NFL world in general. So I'm going to go through the top 10 biggest one here. Look at Mr. Derek coming in from his mini honeymoon, still showing his support. We appreciate you, brother. Congratulations again on the awesome, awesome wedding. And yeah, man, solo mission today. Excited to have him back. So let's keep going on here. And we're going to start off with Cooper Kupp. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp. He had an ankle injury in the game. Looked like, he was kind of hobbled. Then he came back in at the end of the half, thought, it might be a good sign there, but ultimately ruled out at the end of the half. Now, there was some, hey, is this a business decision? At this point, the Rams are already down by 25-plus points to the Cardinals. So was it just like, hey, maybe just sit him there? But it turns out it is unfortunately the dreaded high ankle sprain. So high ankle sprain, why they're much worse than a low ankle sprain is it refers to the ligaments above the ankle. So you've got your fibula and your tibia. Those are the two bones, lower leg. You've got what we call syndesmosis. So you have these series of ligaments that run through. It's a sturdier joint. It is harder to damage. So it requires more force. That means it takes more time. So this is a brutal injury. These are tough to deal with during the season. About a 4 to 6 week recovery timeline. But you will see a production dip up to close to 8 weeks. Some of these guys, especially if they try to come back too soon, just do not look like themselves. Austin Eckler from last year, Saquon Barkley's dealt with this. This is a brutal, brutal injury. Looks like he may wind up on the IR, which honestly may be best case so that Cooper Kupp can just focus on his recovery. All right, going to Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco. another guy, brutal news, broken fibula. Got bent up on a play, came out of the game, was seen with crutches and a walking boot after the game, was very emotional. Could tell it was probably not going to be good news. He also had a similar mechanism with the high ankle sprain where this time he actually it tore, right? So the bone actually broke, similar to what we had with Mark Andrews last year, where if the ankle sprain gets bent enough, that fibula can break, right? So he's going to have surgery. The recovery timeline they're putting out there is about 6 to 8 weeks. Now, honestly, maybe he's off the field for that long, but I think this is going to be closer to a 10 to 12 week thing as far as where he's going to be pretty limited. This is going to be, I think he will come back this season, but until we get late in the season, kind of towards either fantasy football playoff push or a normal playoff push, this is going to be something he's going to be dealing with. So Isaiah Pacheco definitely out. And as we talk about him, look, Samaje Perine, the rookie Carson Steele, and you was kind of like going into this, hey, which guy's going to get the one up front there. But Kareem Hunt, old familiar face, Kareem Hunt is coming in for a visit tomorrow. So before you go and grab Samaje Perine and grab Carson Steele and spend all this, fab there, make sure you pump the brakes here because Kareem Hunt coming back to a familiar offense, he could definitely get some burn here. I know he had some pretty good weeks just in the postseason, 2 touchdowns in the postseason for the Browns. So I think that's going to muddy the waters a bit. I would not be so quick to jump on Samaje Perine and Carson Steele there. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco likely going to be out again, 6 to 8 weeks. What they're giving, I think it's going to be closer to 10 to 12 weeks. Derek dropping in here, talking about these Rams. Look, I mean, by the time they play San Francisco, they're going to have to roll the replacements out there. I mean, the amount of starters they are missing, their O-line's decimated, their secondary's decimated. I mean, we'll talk a lot more about it on Thursday's episode, but yikes for the Rams there. All right, Jermaine Johnson, Achilles tear, out for the season. Brutal injury for the Jets there. Obviously, no Hassan Reddick. They got rid of Bryce Huff in the offseason. I mean, this was once a very vaunted defensive line that still has some talent definitely on the inside, but without Reddick and Johnson, I mean, this is quickly turning into a situation where a once elite group is kind of just taking hits left and right there. So Jermaine Johnson out for the season. He should be good to go for next season, kind of similar to Jalen Phillips, but he's going to have 2 more months of recovery time there. We've got Justin Jefferson, Vikings wide receiver. These two are going to be quick because it's good news. Love giving good news. Jettas and Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, both picked up a quad contusion. Quad contusion, all that is, a contusion is simply a bruise. So it should not be anything too serious there for either Justin Jefferson or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, we'll want to monitor the practice reports, but right now, both just called day-to-day and called a contusion, which, hey, basically they took a Charlie horse, they took a helmet or a pad right to that quad. Yeah, no shit, it's going to hurt, but both of them should be good to go moving forward. So thankfully, some good news there. Deebo Samuel, this kind of just came up here, calf strain. He's going to be there. They said he's going to miss a few weeks. Now, calf strains, like hamstring strains, are annoying to deal with during the season because of their higher re-injury rates. Hamstrings are a bit worse, but calves are still pesky, so you don't want to rush back too soon. So grade 1, typically recovery timelines 1 to 2 weeks. Grade 2 is close to that 4 to 6 weeks. Shanahan said a few weeks, right? So at this point, we're not exactly sure if grade 1 or grade 2. We're going to have to see. I don't expect him, regardless, to practice at all this week. It's going to be that second week. Does he practice at all? That's when we're going to kind of tell, hey, is this going to be closer to kind of my 4 weeks projection or closer to 2 weeks and he should be back that third week? But either way, a tough injury that you do not want to rush back from because it can definitely linger if you try to go too soon. Going to Joe Mixon, another guy that's victim to the hip drop tackle there. I mean, the NFL said it was going to be a penalty. They made these rules to, quote unquote, protect the players. Clearly, they may be fining some guys, but this is not something that the NFL is really, really thinking about doing at this point as far as penalizing. They're going to fine people, but this was the classic hip drop tackle. I mean, TJ Edwards wrapped him around, dropped down, and it was clear as day to just about everyone. And it unfortunately resulted in a likely high ankle sprain for Joe Mixon. Now, he did return to the game, but he only had 1 carry, and then he was quickly subbed out. So he was clearly not himself there. So he's getting an MRI today. We're going to see, hey, did he avoid the high ankle? Is it just going to be a low ankle sprain? Hopefully, but I do think he misses time regardless because just how limited he looked when he came back in. So, whether it's Cam Akers or you have Dameon Pierce coming off that hamstring injury, they might be getting a little more burn with Joe Mixon there. But that's the one that probably we have the more to follow on. By Thursday, for sure, we should know more about Mixon. And then wrapping up here, Evan Ingram, pre-game, he had a hamstring strain. Now, just brutal week to week. So kind of when they say week to week, I'm thinking a little bit closer to grade 2, which can be closer to 4 to 6 week injury there. Now, hamstring strains are the most burdensome injury in the NFL because of their high re-injury rates. You feel better before the tissue is actually healed. So these guys, professional athletes, used to doing whatever they want to do with their body. And they're like, hey, you know what? I feel good. I'm going to go out and go for it. And boom, re-injury, right? So these hamstring strains, big red flags there. Brutal blow for Evan Ingram. Picked it up in pregame. I would say at least out 2 weeks, but really get ready for him to be limited. I would not put him in your lineup until closer to 4+ weeks. Mike Glitchy, just a kind of a significant MCL tear. He's going to be out about 4 to 6 weeks. Broncos offensive line, rookie quarterback, already struggling. This is just kind of worse news for a bad offense. And Tajay Spears looks like he picked up a mild low ankle sprain. Shouldn't be too big of a deal there. Maybe limited in practice. He's got a shot to play this week. I still think this is an opportunity to go ahead and ride the Tony Pollard train. Pollard's look good with low expectations. And, even if Spears plays, I think he might be a little limited, like low to moderate re-injury risk with that low ankle sprain. But I think this is a good time to jump on the Pollard train early. Derek bringing in quick news here. New England linebacker Bentley, pec tear out for the season. Yes, the New England Patriots defense, although looking very, very pesky, has lost a big guy there. So, look, there's so many news. We couldn't fit them all into the graphic. But, hey, those are the biggest ones. Obviously, if you got any questions about specific guys, drop them in the chat here. Again, this is a bit of a rapid-fire edition as I lost. My partner in crime is off sipping margaritas, so I'm battling through this one here. But we're going to talk about this Monday Night Football preview here in just a second. Before we do that, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy, folks. We love Underdog Fantasy here. They have their pick'ems. They just added first touchdown projections, which is awesome. Everybody loves a good first touchdown sweat. There's a ton of ways to win in the NFL, college, MMA. Look, I don't know why anyone else would be watching anything else than football, but hey, if you want to do some MMA, some MLB, Sugar Sean just got beat there by Mirab. So, hey, maybe that's your thing. Underdog Fantasy's got it. To make it even better, they're giving you boost specials all the time, but we here at the Degen Docs are going to try to give you $1,000 in bonus cash. So if you are not using Underdog Fantasy, it's very easy, folks. This is not a contest. This is as simple as, hey, sign up, use promo code SGPNDOC, and boom, deposit $1,000, get $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. So we could be giving you away a free $1,000 there. So sign up today with promo code SGPNDOC to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPNDOC. All right, folks, let's go ahead and talk about this Monday Night Football preview. I will get to those waiver wire targets in a second. Do not worry. But we've got the Atlanta Falcons heading down to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. And we got Kirk Cousins in primetime. Right now, spread, at least last I checked, Atlanta's catching 5.5, around plus 200 on the money line. Eagles minus 245 at home, over under 46.5. A.J. Brown's biggest injury in this game, obviously stud wide receiver for them. And that is a major injury to me. We saw what this offense looked like when they played Tampa Bay in the postseason without A.J. Brown. He is their alpha receiver as much as, Saquon Barkley is going to make an impact. I think A.J. Brown really makes that offense go, which is why my favorite bet of this game is the under 46.5. Look, primetime, everyone, that the number was at 45, earlier today. It's already been bet up. A lot of people, they want to see points, right? You got an offense with a quarterback coming off an Achilles tear in Kirk Cousins. He looked awful. That Eagles defensive line is going to be chomping at the bits to get to him. And the Eagles offense, again, with the loss of A.J. Brown, I still think they have some things to figure out in the interior offensive line. The Falcons defense, they put up our decent showing against Pittsburgh. I think both these defenses get home a little bit. I think, it's an ugly, ugly game. I don't really love either side here. On one side, the public is all over Philadelphia. On the other side, am I really backing Kirk Cousins in a primetime spot? Absolutely not. So give me the under 46.5 there. Some other plays I like. Philadelphia linebacker Zach Bond over 7.5 total tackles. Love this play here. Zach Bond. Philadelphia was desperately looking for a linebacker. Devin White is not the answer. Healthy scratch. Zach Bond was absolutely flying around. I think the Falcons want to feed Bijan tonight, whether through the run or in the air. I love Zach Bond over 7.5 total tackles. He was the clear tackle leader in the game last time, double digits. So I like to run that back. And a couple guys on Atlanta. Grady Jarrett over a quarter of a sack at plus 230, I believe it was there. Eagles interior offensive line, I still have questions about. You lost Jason Kelce, Hall of Fame, one of the best centers personally, the best center I've ever seen play the game of football. Going to take some time to figure it out on the interior offensive line. They were giving up some pressure. They had some difficulties against the Packers. I think that Grady Jarrett is a great defensive tackle. And I think with Judon coming off the edge, forces Hurts to step up, and Grady Jarrett gets home there. Bijan Robinson, 50-plus receiving yards at plus 270, I think it just moved up to. I don't love Bijan on the ground, but watching that game against the Steelers, they just want to feed Bijan any way they can. I like Bijan through the air, so give me 50-plus receiving at plus 270. And then Atlanta wide receiver Ray McCloud, anytime touchdown. I got it at 650. I think it's at 5-1 right now. He's just on the field, and his price does not match how much he was used in that offense last week. So those are the plays. Look, I know kickoff is probably in about 10 minutes here, so I wanted to get those out to you first. All right, to the fantasy realm we go. Waiver wire targets for NFL Week 3. I have been trying to deny it as much as the next guy, but Derek Carr and this Saints offense looks very good. Philadelphia Eagles playing a couple rookies in the back end. They got a couple injuries back there in the secondary. It's a secondary I just don't think is the best unit. I think Derek Carr is going to be able to have his way a little bit with Philadelphia when they play next week. So give me Derek Carr as my first waiver wire target. Deonta Foreman, first of all, he's playing the shitty-ass New York Football Giants. And I say that as a passionate New York Giants fan. They suck. They can't stop the run. Daniel Jones is probably going to turn it over with Myles Garrett. He might just hand him the ball because he's so afraid. Deonta Foreman was getting these snaps in the red zone over Jerome Ford. Another injury to watch out for, Pierre Strong, hamstring week to week. He's going to be out definitely this week, probably multiple weeks. So I like Deonta Foreman there to get some of that goal line work, kind of take over that Kareem Hunt role that we talked about in the beginning of the season there. Alec Pierce, wide receiver for the Colts. Anthony Richardson, it seems like he can't hit anybody but Alec Pierce. He scored a touchdown in the past 2 games, and as much as Josh Downs and A.D. Mitchell and Michael Pittman, and you think that it's going to be these other guys, he just finds Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is the number 8 wide receiver in fantasy right now, and he's rostered in like 13% of leagues. I don't think it's a fluke situation here. I think Alec Pierce is going to be one of the go-to guys for the Indianapolis Colts. We're taking another shot on Demarcus Robinson. No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua, no Tyler Higbee. Now, the offensive line concerns me here. Is Stafford even going to be able to get rid of the ball? But Demarcus Robinson's the big play threat there. He's got some chemistry with Stafford. Probably my least favorite of these 5, but I do think that he has a chance. He's got the opportunity, and he's shown that he can make some big plays in the NFL. So Demarcus Robinson, and then Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry legitimately might be the wide receiver 1 for the New England Patriots. New England Patriots have showed they're a frisky team that, hey, they're figuring some things out. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to involve the tight end. Hunter Henry, had a nice week last week. I think he continues that against the Jets defense, who, again, no Jermaine Johnson. You've got safety DJ Reed beat up. You've got CJ Mosley, their best player in linebacker. He's beat up right now. So that's a situation where Hunter Henry might be in for a nice week there. All right, folks, those are your waiver wire targets. And before we move on here, let me tell you about BetUS. Yes, that is right, BetUS. We're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business at BetUS. BetUS has been around more than 40 years. Bet anywhere. BetUS is available in tons of locations, including internationally. They just launched an all-new live betting experience. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning-fast payouts. And the best part, use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. All right, one more here. Rhythm. Let me tell you about Rhythm. Look, folks, my co-host and I may not have a lot of it. We tried to showcase what we little had at his wedding the other night, and maybe it was just the alcohol. But, hey, maybe every time I do this rhythm read, I'll get a little bit more for me. I'm sure the wife would appreciate it. So the number 1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps you provide all bettors of all levels the ability to create predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line, spreads, totals, and props. And we have them as a partner. Rhythm AI had a great NFL week 2 at 22.5% ROI on NFL spread bets and 44.3% ROI on NFL moneyline bets. Hit some nice juicy dogs. Rhythm was probably on Tampa Bay. Like me and my co-host gave out a nice 3-1 dog. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking out the Detroit Lions. Oh, that was just beautiful. But claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, folks, kickoff's right around the corner. So I told you I'd get you out of here in time. I just want to talk about some early line locks, some things that I'm looking at the board for next week, and some things that I have bet already because I like where they're at. New England Patriots plus 6.5 against the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. Just talked about it. Jermaine Johnson out for the season. You've got Hassan Reddick. He's nowhere to be found, right? So you have a defense that was supposed to be vaunted and this immaculate kind of great defense. I think they're going to struggle. And the Patriots have shown that they are going to stick around. They went and beat the Bengals on the road, and then they were very, very frisky against the Seattle Seahawks. Really probably should have won that game. Wind up losing in overtime by a field goal. As much as I want to be in on the Jets, they just have not shown me that they're a dominant team. I think New England keeps it close there. Look for him to – we'll see if I talk myself into the money line play there. Obviously, Bentley being out for the season hurts a little bit, but I still like the Patriots at 6.5 there. Chicago Bears, Indianapolis Colts under 42.5. Both quarterbacks struggling right now. Both offenses struggling. Bears defense looking pretty good. Colts defense not too shabby themselves. Really, it's just two quarterbacks who are struggling to put up points. It's going to be a lot of running in the game. They're just going to either feed Jonathan Taylor or try to get DeAndre Swift going. I don't trust either of those offenses to put up points. So give me the under 42.5 right now. And Detroit, minus 2.5, heading over to Arizona. As not good as Arizona looks, I just think that was a Rams team that was just depleted. And I'm not totally sold on Arizona yet. Detroit coming off a loss. I think they're going to be motivated. I think Detroit is going to be able to have their way with the defense. I still have a lot of questions for. And yes, Kyler Murray looks great. I mean, he's a guy that I really liked in the offseason. He's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. But let's pump the brakes real quick. I think that, I really view this Detroit Lions team as a Super Bowl contender, and I'm not quite there yet on the Arizona Cardinals. I know they're coming off a great week, but give me the Lions minus 2.5 there. All right, folks. I know it was a rapid fire round, but hey, we've got some more football to watch. So apologize for a little bit of the delay, a little bit of a switch up here. Again, this week, Thursday night, we will be much closer to 7 p.m. Because we're going to do our full show. Derek will be back. He'll be able to rein me in here. Obviously, he's the man behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, keeping this ship afloat. So, again, congratulations to my brother in degeneracy, Derek, for his wedding to him and his beautiful wife. And let's have a hell of a week here. Again, folks, if you enjoyed the show, please, as a new show, we appreciate all comments, likes, subscribe. So follow us on here and everywhere. All right, folks, you know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away, and we've got your prescription. All right, to football.
What's up, Degens? Doc here. As a proud member of the U.S. Army and a lover of football, sometimes those two things cross over on here. But as you probably already know, as a lowly captain, these are just my opinions. These are not opinions that are representative of the entire DoD or the U.S. Army. The same thing goes for any references to any commercial products or hyperlinks. Again, that does not constitute an endorsement from the DoD or the Army. I hope you enjoyed the show, and as always, let it ride, baby.